Mac here with you on Birds 365. Thanks for jumping in with us. We'll stream for you another hour here. And if you're enjoying what you're hearing, even if you're not, do us a favor. I guess I'm asking you for a favor. Hit the like button. We need to get it. That many of more of you being not only tuned, but liking when you're here. We got a good crowd today. Pretty good number of those of you who are streaming in right now. Yeah, go ahead, hit that like button. Show your boys Mac a little bit of love. All right, here's one thing we didn't get to with Gil, and that's my fault. We got off on a Bijan tangent.
Yeah, too much of a Bijan tangent. But,
yeah,
you know, why not? It's that time of year, Joe.
Right. We still got 3 weeks before the draft anyway. And speaking of, we're just going to have to wait, and then wait some more. I think the same thing's going to happen with Jalen Hurts' contract. At least we have an end date for the draft. We know when the draft is going to happen. We do not have an end date for when Jalen Hurts' contract is going to get done. J-Mac and I have kicked this back and forth, and I think he's got a pretty damn good read on it that, yeah, look for after June 1st when the contract situations in the league change. Could be advantageous to wait till that time. And if it doesn't get done between June 1st, then when do they shut it down to go on vacay, Johnny Mac?
Like June 9th or something. So I'm going June 1st to June 10th. And then I'm going, if not, then I'm going July 17th to July 27th. Those are the two.
And if we get to July 17th to July 27th, there'll be some Eagle fans that are pulling their hair out that they haven't gotten this deal done yet. But that's the way the National Football League works. I saw a real interesting note somewhere. I didn't see the actor. Maybe it was on a podcast or something. Mike Sando, who's a pretty good NFL reporter, suggested yesterday, don't be surprised if the Jalen Hurts contract more resembles the Patrick Mahomes contract than anyone else in the National Football League, because you, me, and everybody else continue to throw the names of Burrow and Herbert. And I put Lamar Jackson into that mix because he's the only one that has to get done. Burrow's under contract for this upcoming year. Herbert's under contract for this upcoming year. Jalen Hurts is under contract for this upcoming year. Lamar Jackson doesn't have a contract. I know he's tagged by the Ravens, but it's not signed. So his has a little bit more immediacy attached to it than any of the other ones. And I think some dominoes have to start falling before the Eagles get this done. But Sando suggested that the Eagles and Jalen Hurts may look to do a long-term contract because Mahomes signed a 10-year deal with the Chiefs. Now, remember, it was 2 years ago. So it's now almost a outdated contract. Now, that's the other thing you got to keep in mind when you talk about quarterback contracts. Guys want to rip them up after they get it done, get their big original payday, major signing bonus, and then go, well, the quarterback market has changed, and I'm still this good a quarterback. So let's talk about renegotiation. Just the concept of Eagles and Hurts doing a lengthy contract the way that Mahomes did with the Chiefs. You buying any of that, Johnny Mac?
Well, I definitely think the Eagles want a long-term deal as much as possible. I think, I saw somebody else say that too, and I can't remember who. I think a lot of people, and Mike's very good, Mike Sando. I think a lot of people default to Jalen Hurts, man. He gets a lot of credit. Jeffrey Lurie called him the most mature, 24-year-old he's ever known. Everyone assumes, and I'm in this camp as well, that he's very cognizant of he's going to make a lot of money, but he's also, he wants to win, and he's going to help the Eagles win while making a lot of money. And I think that's right. I think that's the way it's going to shake down. So he's going to get a very big deal, but it's going to be as team friendly as possible. And two parts to that: length and remember, Patrick Mahomes that contract is going to be redone. It's already been redone. It's going to be redone 5-6 times along the way. If the Eagles get that type of deal, same thing's going to happen here. It's going to be redone 5 or 6 times along the way, but they have long-term security So yeah, I mean, I've never, you and I batted this bat. I don't even worry. It doesn't bother me anyway. But that's probably the wrong word. When people ask me, is it going to be any issue, the Jalen Hurts contract extension? My answer is always no. It's not. He's too mature. He's too focused on the goal. Everything I've seen about Jalen Hurts, if he turns into Lamar Jackson and fires his agent and says, I want a fully guaranteed contract no matter what, blah, 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 it's not going to happen. It's just not. He's not that guy. I'm not saying it's wrong for Lamar Jackson. I'm just saying he is not that guy. And I think it's going to be smooth sailing. I really do.
Right. And 99% of the time I agree with you on this. Maybe it's just because the last couple of days, you and Gil as well, try to tell me that agents dictate the players. It never goes the other way around, that players actually dictate agents. And I get it. Jalen Hurts is older than Jalen Carter, and Carter hasn't played a day in the NFL, and Jalen Hurts has already been the NFL MVP runner-up. And he is as mature a young man as he is, as compared to Jalen Carter, who, despite the fact that we don't really know him all that well, is showing some signs of being a little on the immature side. Yeah, like driving a car at 100 miles an hour and then saying, well, I don't know what anybody's talking about. But either you do or don't dictate to your agent, or your agent does or doesn't dictate to you. That's my only concern. That's my 1% concern with the Jalen Hurts contract. The agent might want to just put a major win up on the board and be a very difficult negotiation and get every single last penny, and want to go short term rather than long term, so Jalen could go back out onto the free agent market 3 years from now. That's my only concern of this. And it's not a zero. If it's 1%, 2%, whatever it is, we have never seen a Jalen Hurts negotiated contract before. I'm sorry, his rookie deal as a second-round pick doesn't count. That's force-fed down your throat, and there's nothing you can do about it. This is the first time he's going to be able to negotiate with the potential of going elsewhere. Maybe the agent has more gravitas and more pull in this than we're giving credence to at this time.
I can't see it. On the calendar, it's 2 years. Jalen's 24, Jalen's 22, Jalen Carter. But it might as well be 20 years in real world. I mean, there are certain people, you probably know it in your own life. Everyone probably does. There are certain people that mature more quickly than other people. I mean, just maturity is not guaranteed. I know 35-year-olds who aren't mature.
Sure.
I mean, and I know a 24-year-old who's really mature. So it always differs with people. I mean, Jalen Hurts, one of the reasons he hired Nicole Lynn is he's a champion of women in sports. And he's, that from day one, he's more mature. You talk about your 99, my 99% is what I said with Drew. 22-year-olds are going to listen to their agent. That's my 99%. Jalen's probably the 1%. The reason Nicole Lynn is Jalen Hurts' agent is because he went outside the box and said, I want to go this route. I want to be this. I want to make this decision and champion a woman agent in professional sports. He's already making decisions from day one, but he's the 1%. He's not the 99. So that's my 99.
But what if, and I don't know his agent a little bit. I don't know how she's going to handle these negotiations. I've never seen her speak and talk about the way that she views things going in the National Football League. So I'm already commenting from a position of weakness because I don't know well enough. But what if she is the female version of a hardline negotiator and wants to be that agent who is going to put the record-setting deal at the top of her resume, and the Eagles are making an offer and she's telling Jalen, no, listen, we don't need to. I can get better than this. I can do better than this. I can outdo Drew Rosenhaus. What happens if that happens? Is Jalen just going to be the mature guy and go, yeah, no, we're not doing that because I
Yeah,
say so?
I do, and that's why I said he's the 1%.
In the
He's not.
face of a female agent that he's gone out of his way to specifically hire because he wants to give them a chance to show that they can compete with a male and
Well,
then he's
no,
going to
I
just
think
disregard her advice in the first contract he ever signs.
remember we're talking about. I think people don't know. It's not like the Eagles are going to come in and say, "Hey, we want to pay you $35 million average annual value." We're talking about 48 to 52 as I put the number out. You probably come to the table and say, all right, we got 48 to 52. Let's make it 50 and call it a day.
That'd be nice.
We're not talking about 35 to 55. Yeah. If the Eagles come in and say, we want to pay you $35 million a year, Jalen, because we want to build this team and sell it. And we want to win. We want to win consistently and expect him to take that. Well, yeah, then they're going to say, no, we're going to crap on that. It's not going to happen, though. We're talking. Jalen Hurts is not going to argue over $2 million. And if Nicole Lynn says, I want to argue over $2 million, when you're talking about whatever the guarantee is, 200 million, whatever it ends up being, you're going to argue over $2 million. Jalen Hurts isn't going to argue over $2 million. Not. And yes, he will put his foot down.
Okay. Glad to hear that some players still have the correct
99 to 1. That's my 99 to 1, especially at his age. But as Jeffrey Lurie said, and by the way, the Eagles are thrilled with that. Typically, when you're talking, and you'll see this with Joe Burrow and you'll see this with Justin Herbert, because I don't think they're going to be the same way. And I don't know them, but I find it very hard to believe they're as mature as Jalen Hurts. You're probably going to see a more difficult negotiation. He's the outlier. See, the other guys are going to listen to their agents.
Here's where I end up agreeing with you, but agree with you for a different reason. I think the Eagles are the outlier, not the quarterback. That the Eagles, you've got the Chargers that are individually owned, not a major corporation, don't have the big money. And the Bengals, who might be the least funded organization in the entire National Football League as far as independent wealth goes, they've had that many more contracts that have gone by the board, not gotten done because of the position of the organization where they do actually want to negotiate and get the best deal. The Eagles take care of their quarterback. We just saw it with Carson Wentz. They got the deal done. Jeffrey Lurie is not afraid to extend and pay big bucks and stay competitive with everybody else in the football market. If it gets done, it's because the Eagles aren't going to try and come in at 38 million. That they're going to come in at 48, 50, somewhere thereabouts. They're going to know what the market is, and they're going to be right there from the beginning. They're not going to have to drag it out and get to a compromise and undersell and the like. If it gets done, which I'm with you, I think it will happen, John, and it'll be a record-setting deal, certainly for the Eagles, and one of the highest contracts ever in the history of football. I think it'll get more so done because of the Eagles than Jalen Hurts' maturity, because they're going to start the negotiation in the right place.
Well, yeah, I said that. The Eagles aren't going to start. So it's both sides of the equation. But, when you talk about, the Eagles are going to do right by him, and he's going to do right by the Eagles. And when you have both sides on that same page, it's going to be easy. And I think it's going to be easy. Yeah, I really do. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. We're on the air every stinking day. I'll admit I'm wrong. I just don't see it. I don't see any evidence. It's going to be difficult.
I'll give you the one piece of evidence. It's a stretch. I'll readily admit it's a stretch. Because some people said, and again, who the hell are some people? Some people did say, well, they'll get this thing done before they ever get to the combine.
Well, that's
they didn't. They get this thing done before they get to draft. Well, they didn't. So they haven't gotten it done. There's no downside. They're not, oh my God, the sky is falling, Chicken Little. but they
Yeah,
haven't
but
gotten
that's
better.
where, I mean, to be blunt, and that's people who don't understand the industry, who don't understand how it works. Nothing gets done after the season. There were people saying, well, you can do it now after the regular season. You remember that, Jody? Technically, you can do it now. Show me the examples of it. That's not how the NFL works. That's not how this league does business. So for people that don't understand how the business gets done, it's not really relevant.
Right, but let me and Chris Franklin's going to join us here in just a couple of minutes. You do acknowledge that it would have been preferable for the Eagles and Howie Roseman, who this entire offseason picking up bargain basement free agents, would have preferred to get the Jalen Hurts deal done so he knows exactly how much cap room he has to use to make deals to get the Eagles in better places. It would have been advantageous for the Eagles to get it done, even if it
no,
wasn't
because
really realistic. But you have to say it would have been advantageous had they been able to get it done as soon as the season ended.
no, because he's got it budgeted. He's working with the budget. And again, I think people have this weird thought that there's going to be this giant. Oh, the Eagles have to know. The Eagles know exactly. Again, we're talking about minute amounts of money. When they
Can I
know
get some of
exactly,
those minute amounts of money, $4 million per year, if we're between 48 and 52? Can you and I kind of split that up between us, Johnny
well,
Mac?
that I agree with. But when you're budgeting for an NFL team, it's minute. Again, everything is in context. It's not minute to the average person. To an NFL budget, yeah. I mean, it's minute and it's a rounding error, as they say. So he already knows the template and he's already budgeting. But as Howie explained when he was talking about how he typically likes to get extensions done during the season, he explained his thought process partially on the record and saying he didn't want to upset the chemistry of the team as they made a run towards the Super Bowl. And that was part of it. Part of it was, again, too many guys having career seasons. So you lose leverage. Now, in Jalen's case, he couldn't work out an extension because of the rules. You had to wait till the regular season was over. And again, that part of it is just not the way the NFL does business. It just isn't. Now, as you go through the playoffs and the season's finally over after the Super Bowl, you've seen a handful of guys sign extensions around the league. Not many, but there's a few. There's always a few. 3, 4, much lesser valued positions. That's part of it. But because of the enormity of his contract, the bookkeeping comes into it. And that's why I focused on June 1st so strongly, because that's going to help with the good bookkeeping part of it. And, I went back and I looked at Carson Wentz. I didn't remember off because you forget these things. Sure enough, June 6th. That's why I focused so intently on early June as the likely window for this to get done.
No, we shall see, but we're going to have patience on that. I don't have patience, Ray. I want the Eagles to draft tomorrow. We got to wait 3 more weeks before the draft comes up, but that's what the NFL offseason is about. You got to be able to show some patience. No more patience for us. Good news coming. Chris Franklin, NJ.com, is going to jump in. See you next here on Birds 365.